Haley, sorry. Okay. So I have a friend who has on the floor of their band room, better than what I'm going to have. I'm just going to have pieces of paper. But they have little circles cut out and taped to the band room floor, and they are designed and lined up to be where the fingerings are for the keys of that particular instrument. So there's a little clarinet, little area with little holes and little cutouts, and we're going to do flute. So I'm going to set one piece of paper on the floor, and each of the pieces of paper, and subsequently each of these volunteers, will represent one of the keys on the flute. Okay, and then they're going to stand by their flute, and I'm going to call out a name of a note, and they're going to jump on their key if they play that key, and they're going to jump off if they don't play that. So we're going to play a fun, active game. I know. Glad you volunteered, aren't you? We have a smaller aperture. When the aperture gets smaller, the same quantity of air coming out of it comes out faster. Right? If you're blowing on your hand and your mouth is open, that's a lot slower than puckered up. Right? So when the aperture gets smaller, it automatically speeds up the air. Also, we want the air angle to be a little bit higher, and the way flute players should do this is so if this is half of your lips, this is the lower lip, this is the upper lip. As we play higher, you should bring the lower lip up to your upper lip. To make the aperture smaller, you want to bring the lower lip up. That also raises the air. So all of these things are kind of working together to make your high notes come out. Aim higher, smaller aperture, faster air. Any one of those things could theoretically work at making your high notes come out. It is, however, best if you're implementing all three. And this is a big common mistake that, again, and I'm not criticizing your hard work in trenches, but it's easy to miss, right? They play the high note came out, I'm happy, you move on. You want to make sure that they're doing it the correct way so they're setting themselves up for embouchure success later on. Okay? So as they start to do octave jumps, and this could be after the first year of playing, towards the end of that first year, going into the second year, so my middle schoolers, get them thinking about octave jumps as being a product of moving the embouchure, not just blowing extra air. What ends up happening if you allow them just to blow harder? If you blow harder, you're going to be using faster air, and by blowing harder, it's going to raise the air angle. So you're like, hey, high note came out of my flute, win-win. If you're not doing it with your aperture, but just a quantity of air, it's going to be sharp, and it's going to be loud, and it's going to be shrill. And if you want to get your flute sounding sharp, loud, and shrill in the upper register, you send them off to high school. I know of some high school band directors that will come back and say, please stop doing that to the flutes. Okay? Set them up for success. So it's not enough. The ends do not justify the means. Just because they can switch octaves by blowing harder doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. So one quick thing you can do is you can encourage your students to practice moving their face around. Make the high notes and the low notes go. Flute players need a ton of flexibility. Okay? So make it that your lips are doing the work, not the air. Everybody blow on your hand. So I'm going to put your hand in front of your faces, and you can form like a nice little flute embouchure. There you go. And blow on your wrist. Blow on your fingertips. On your lips, or on your wrist, sorry, and your fingertips. Good. Make sure you're not just moving your head. A lot of flute players do that. Like, that's great. I'll play higher. I'll play lower. You don't need to do that. That's overkill. Make your mouth do the work. Aim higher, aim lower. You can also buy pinwheels at the dollar store and have students blow little pinwheels so they have a visual representative. Or you can get the coolest thing ever invented for the flute and flute pedagogy. Behold, I present the Numo Pro. Bum, bum, bum. You can purchase these at fluteworld.com or Amazon or forget the name of the website. The gal, Kathy Blocky, she invented this. It's a game changer. Okay, so what it is it's shaped, it's a piece of plastic, costs about 20 bucks. It is shaped like a flute. It's the same size as the head joint, it has gaskets, so you can actually physically insert it into the body of a flute. It won't sound, it's not a hollow tube, it will not make music, it will not make a sound. But you can visualize with the spinners where your air angle is heading. And what's cool about this is the only way that you can get the top spinner to spin is by moving your face, right? You can't just blow harder. If you blow harder, it just makes the spinner spin faster in the angle that you do it. So what you end up doing is you're training your flutes to move their embouchure correctly, and flute players love, like a gimmick, flute players love accessories. We are the Hello Kitty of the band. Just give us something cute that matches, and we'll buy it, and we'll use it. They will fight over this thing, right? But if you blow on it just like a proper flute embouchure, and you can play games with like higher and lower. You can send this home with that troubled student that just can't get the high notes out. They're probably like clamping down angrily and blowing harder, which is not helping their air angle. The only way to get the high note or the high spinner to spin is by playing the flute correctly. The other cool thing about this is it has a little flat top where you can put a dime on it so that you're not rolling in, because this would work too. And you see that a lot with beginning flute players. They'll also figure out a way that if they just roll the head joint in and out, their high notes will come out. But their high notes won't be in tune. So get them out of this habit, right? Have that Pneumopro. And they can attach it to the whole flute. This is a mandatory purchase for my flute methods class. In fact, these guys are just sitting here going, yeah, I know, got my Pneumopro at home. It's really cool. The new ones actually have different color spinners. So you can just call out green, and they all spin the green spinner, blue, and all your flutes go for it. So this is a game changer in terms of that embouchure adjustment kind of thing. If you don't have one of these, or you don't feel like purchasing one, use your hand. That's what we used to do in the old days. You just blow up, and blow down, and blow up, and blow down. But this works cool too. So I would definitely do that. And I think if you guys in general,